but everything from this point forward was going to be on the replay. So
Oh,
the only difference is nobody's in here yet. Here, I'll tag you on it. How about that? Because I just now figured out you were on Facebook.
yeah, I'm on Facebook.
Well, I think we had exchanged messages on 3 different things. I don't even know how it happened, but
well, email and
email, Facebook, because I saw that one. Let's see. I'm gonna edit, and Gailelaine. How do you say it?
yeah.
Gailelaine, Angeleyes. That's what you are on Facebook. Boom, you are now tagged. Okay, cool. Okay, well, let me turn on at least one of the pages, and so I can look at comments and see if anybody has anything they want to say or whatever. So welcome, Gailelaine, to Soul Speaks 5D. I don't even know how we came into contact, but I know it was through a friend that said, I think they said I should get you on, but I think you also reached out at the same time. I don't know.
No, I've never reached out. I was
you didn't reach out?
Sorry.
What's that?
I never reached out. I was quite surprised when I saw it.
Yeah, well, somebody told me, and I don't know who it was. So whoever it is out there, if you happen to drop in, let us know who it was.
Emma, maybe.
Emma who?
I know. I know her as Emma.
I can't think of any Emmas. I know a few, but I can't think of any that have been in my recent past.
Oh, okay.
So now where you're in UK, right?
Yeah, I'm in the UK. I'm in Kent. Yeah. What time is it in where you are now?
It is 12 o'clock. I'm in the central time zone. I'm in Texas. So it's 1 o'clock in New York, East Coast.
Okay.
Yeah. And
just interested.
Yeah. So like in the US, we're going from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock across the country.
Okay.
So LA's 10 a.m. Hawaii's 8 a.m. Now, so tell us a little bit. Did you have a wake-up experience like so many of us?
When I was 6.
When you were 6, well, what happened?
I used to see, I was 6 and I used to see fairies, quite a lot of fairies on my mother's roses. They used to be dancing along, and they were brilliant. And I used to go into the garden with because I love frogs, playing with the frogs. And there were the fairies, lots of them just playing on the roses, because my mother had a line of roses, on wood across.
Right.
And they used to dance across there. And then when I was 7, I had a bad experience, and I shot out of my body. So now I'm way up in the universe, looking at my body down on the bed. And I always remember being very afraid. I'm trying to pinch myself to get back down, but I couldn't get back down into my body. And I know when I woke up the next day, I was just a different person. I never saw the fairies again.
Really?
Well, it was abuse. I was abused.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, I picked up on that. I mean, and so many of you have been.
Yeah.
So many of us have been, and one way or the other, because we're all connected. But we on this show, we've heard this same thing. And I think the point here that's kind of intriguing to me is now for some of the women that have come on and talked about it, that when these experiences occurred, either they were conscious at the time or realized later that they were leaving their body. So it kind of served the purpose of getting out of the body, but it also seems to have a connection or a correlation to their ability to tap into the higher realms. So in other words, they went up there, and while they were there, they were familiar enough with it, and they started developing this relationship. What I find fascinating about your situation is that you were seeing already, or you were still seeing, I should say, because I think as kids we probably all did. We just don't remember.
Yeah, I think all children do. Yeah.
Yeah. but when you had this experience, which would seem like a positive experience in terms of you know, you're out of your body, you have a different perspective as to what's really going on, so whatever that information. But then you shut down. How long did you shut down?
I shut down until I was, I suppose, in my 30s, because, or before that. Yeah, I think because I kept being touched, and every time I seemed to go on to abusive relationships after that. You know, you do.
Yeah.
And so if I've been hit or anything, I'm out. And so I used to see spirits. I used to see the incarnate spirit. So I used to talk to them sometimes while I was out, or they'd appear, you know. So I had a lot of that. So I was you know, I was a medium.
Right.
I was easily a medium, you know. I didn't have to do training on it or anything, because I was there with them. And
Wow.
it was magical in lots of ways. You know, I had lots of magical experiences. And then eventually I got out of all that, and I realized I was in a pattern. And once I realized I was in the pattern of going from one relationship to another with abuse, you know, I've lived nearly on the street with 2 kids, and, you know, I've done that. So I know how, and that I've lived kind of a scary but survival life up to my 40s. And then the magic really happened. I had lots of magical things then. I met you know, my partner, who's now in, you know, he's gone home to the spirit world. But I had so many visions. You know, my body changed. I was meditating and my body changed. I became an eagle, and I flew over the Rockies, and my eyesight was amazing. I could see everything. It was the red earth. It was the Rockies. I know it was. And I've never been there, but only when I've been flying in my meditations and things like that. Yeah. Wow. And so I did lots of mediumship then, because, you know, I'd be stood in a queue waiting to be served, and I'd have somebody's father saying, will you just tell the lady in front that I'm okay? And I was like, oh God, here we go. But because I was so outgoing, I've always had this feeling that, you know, everything's magical and wonderful. Even when I was going through all that abuse, it was something, I always had that feeling. I could never explain it, but I've always looked on the bright side. It's just in me. It's just who I am. And so, you know, eventually, when the spirits were asking me to give them a message, I just started to do it. And then more and more people spoke to me. Then I ended up going to I'm not religious in any way, shape or form, but the spiritualist church. Then I was doing all the mediumship there. And it was amazing. I met loads and loads of people. And then when I met Brian, he was spiritual, which was lovely. Everything changed again. Everything was changing. And then I was out of my body. I had 2 magic mushrooms. That's all, 2. He used to have magic mushrooms because he'd been terribly abused. And he was a very strong guy. He could have 100 and have no effect. Me too. I was out of my body then, really out. And then these other, Arunda came through. She's from Egypt. She came through, she showed herself, she started speaking to Brian. And then I had this like a Genghis Khan kind of a guy came through me. So all of a sudden, I'm really wide awake. And I knew I had to have those mushrooms to get me out of my body again. So now I'm flying in a different way. So channeling and everything started to come through me. So it's quite amazing. And I had so many visions. It was just amazing. And then, so we did the work together, you know, tarot cards, but it was so easy reading the tarot cards because I just had the spirit come. Brian was an amazing reader, whereas I didn't need that, but he told me I should have it because sometimes I have to shut down. So I learned to read the tarot sort of in a day, because not from a book. You have to learn in a different way, don't you? You learn just by looking at the card. Anyway, through that, eventually we moved to a place called Cornwall. We was called to a place called Cornwall, which is stunning. It's the sea, the Atlantic Ocean and all around. And we were coming back to do a show, and we did a show in Macclesfield, not in Macclesfield, but near there, in this huge university. And on the third day, I was given a reading, but I always open my auric field and bring it round and ask for healing for the person in front of me. It was just natural. And then this huge male angel, he was there looking at me. His wings spread from one end of the university to the other, and they were white. And he was male, and his eyes were so blue. And he just looked at me and smiled. And this lady in front, I wasn't looking at her, I was looking at him. She just said to me, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "There's an amazing male angel at the back of you." It was huge. And then she said, "Who's he for?" And I said, "Oh, for both of us, my darling, for both of us." And then he disappeared. And then when I went back to Cornwall the next day, everything changed. I was walking up from the beach, which is on a big hill, and I thought, oh my God, I've got to find work here. And this voice from nowhere said, "No, you will now heal." Nobody there. And so I thought, no, I've got to get a job. And it went so loud in my ear, "No, you will now heal." I thought, okay, I'll do as I'm told. I will now heal. And so it was really weird because financially was not in a great space. Yeah, we earned money, you know, sort of on the cuff, really. And then I went down to the front in St. Ives, and there was a lady. Her name was Tanya Laino. And we just looked at each other and we knew each other. I started knowing people in St. Ives, bumping in and going, "Oh my God." And they'd say, "We know you." I go, "I know you." This was happening hugely. And she did kinesiology, but she was more than a kinesiologist. And then I started to heal from all the beatings I'd had and everything. I went through this with her. She helped me. I did rebirthing, proper rebirthing, you know, with the breath for hours, doing the breath until it changes you. I saw past lives. I saw so much stuff. And then after that, all of a sudden, this voice said, "Now you're ready, get out there and work." And I went, oh my God, it was like, here we go. But I was also doing Kriya Yoga in between that. That's another big story. Kriya Yoga is the way of the breath. And I always knew I hadn't had teachers to tell me any of this. I had to learn it all and set out. And this one lady said, "Oh, I'm starting to teach Kriya Yoga. Do you want to come?" And I went, "Yeah, okay, I'll come." And it was years before I'd seen this picture, this Indian doctor where I lived in Macclesfield. She says to me, "What's my master got to do with you?" Because she dropped this picture and I picked it up. And I said, "I've no idea." And when I went in that room to do the Kriya Yoga, there he was looking at me. You know, a pranayama, you know, he was there. I'm going, wow, that was, you know, a big link. And so I did Kriya Yoga. But before that, the angels well, in Macclesfield, I used to get my breath taken over. I used to be breathed, you know, and the breath was like this. And they just start to breathe me. And when they breathe me, if I got up to switch the light on, I blew the electrics all the time. As Brian was fed up of me doing that. He said, "Don't touch the light switch." So then I was seeing angels everywhere. And I was giving someone a healing, and these angel wings popped out of his back. And I'm looking, thinking, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke. His wings out of his back. And then whoosh, all of a sudden out of mine, these wings appeared. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is crazy, but brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And there's something happened that I want to read to you that's so important about the breath. Okay?
Okay.
I've not let you speak yet. Is that okay?
No, I don't need to be speaking. It's fine. This is great.
Okay. So then other things were happening to me, and I was having visions. But one night I was asked to get up out of bed and come down and meditate. It was the middle of the night. I found a tea light, so I had a little tea light, put that on. And then I sat down. And when I sat down, I disappeared off the settee. I'd gone. And I was connected to everything. Todd, if you knew that feeling of being connected with everything, the wind, the trees, the water, the breath of the earth, I was connected to everything. It was amazing. It was so amazing. And when I came back, there was this envelope at the side of me. It wasn't there before. And there was a pen, and the voice said, "Write this down now." And so I wrote this down. And it came in this kind of sequence. Long ago, before this world began, you sat with me in my heart. We were one, infinite lights. We began a journey. We were a sea of energy, drifting in bliss, flowing in and out on a great breath. We were breathed. We were breathed by this great ocean of energy into a life form of experience, journeying to our new selves. You are not a channel, but a natural energy that blends with the source of knowledge to experience the world, floating within myself. Now that came from source. So when I could read it the next day, I read it, but it took me a while to really understand. We were born on a breath. We were breathed in. The body's there, the breath comes, the soul comes in. We come with the colour, we come with the sound. I was shown all this, how we come into the body. It was amazing. I had a lot more experiences, but that's basically who I am, that angel. People communicate with angels. We all do in some way communicate with angels. There are angels with everybody. With the wars going on and with the earthquakes, I did something, well, I didn't do it. It came through with the group I was working, and it showed me huge amounts of crystal angels making this column of light going up into the universe and singing gently and just calling all the souls who were leaving their body up into the universe. And then there was another column bringing all the babies and the new souls back in. It was amazing. And that was Wednesday. It was beautiful. It was wonderful.
That was Wednesday, like this past
Yeah.
Wednesday? Wow.
Yeah.
Were you in a meditation, or what was going on?
What happens to me, I get taken over.
Okay. So you went in like trance or vision?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Wow. Yeah. Where do I start with all this? I've always had this one question, and I think you'd be the perfect person to answer it. I think in the I want to say the 12, 13, about three years. When I first woke up, I went through like every 2 or 3 weeks the medium. We would connect and there would be interaction, and I don't know what that was. I guess part of my training or something. I have no idea. But in that time, I did. I guess my third eye was opening, so I would sit in session type of environments, and I would start seeing things and hearing things and contributing things, and there was a difference to me between God, how would you say this? I guess the term would be like ghost, where you would run into an entity that was kind of stuck in between or stuck on the earth that had disincarnated.
Yeah.
Than other beings. And I just wanted to and to me also, I just want to add, there seemed like to be some levels. One was clearly astral. And like my time in there wasn't a long period of time. Now that we've gotten this far down the road, I'd say a couple of years, maybe during this time with the mediums. But after that kind of went away. But then I noticed there was like these different levels. But so is there different levels, and like what's the difference between what we call a ghost and other or essences or other energies, entities that many of us have encountered?
Well, what I do know, what they have shown me, is there are different levels. There are people who are stuck to the earth. I mean, really stuck. So when they die, you can see them. Sometimes that's your ghost. It's because they're stuck to the earth.
Okay.
I mean, I was passing a roundabout when Brian was alive, and we saw a guy in a leather jacket on the roundabout, and we both looked and saw him, and I went, what's he doing on that roundabout, that guy? And then we heard the news sort of the day after there'd been a motorbike crash, and he thought he was still alive.
Right.
Okay. So we worked with him from a distance. You can work.
Right.
And we did, it's like soul retrieval back, taking that soul, showing him the light. We visualized him, where he was, we put the light around him, and it pulled him up. But on saying that, I'll tell you something that happened to me. And I was awake. I was wide awake when this one happened. The last person before my husband, I'd lived with 10 years. He was, God bless his heart, I think he was bipolar now. I mean, he'd jump up and beat me, do all that. But I loved him. I know, you just do. But when I left him, he never connected with anybody else. And he died 2011, January or February. My husband, he went home November, the last day in November 2011. And I was visiting my children here. I think it was about a year after. And I woke up in the morning dying for a pee. But I was actually vibrating. My whole body was vibrating. And it's so lovely when that happens to me. And I don't want to get up. Anyway, I got up, went back, and I thought, hope it still happens. And it still happened. So I closed my eyes, just enjoying this feeling. Next, I'm going up. I'm just feeling myself being drawn up. And I came to this white room. And in this white room, and I kept thinking, I'm wide awake doing this. In this white room was a hospital bed. And on that bed was a man with his head down, with his arms out. And I went up to him and I sat on the bed thinking, I'm doing this. I'm wide awake and doing this. And I got hold of his hands and he lifted his head and it was John. And he looked at me and went, where am I? Where am I? I just looked at him and said, darling, you are so, so safe. And the angels are waiting for you. You can let go now, let go. And he just let go. And he went. And God, I was so pleased for him.
Ooh. And
I came back down. They brought me back down, lay on the bed. And I was just vibrating all the time. It was amazing. And he was stuck. He thought he was still alive. And why weren't people there? These people, this is why I don't like these things called Ghostbusters. I really don't like it because it's insulting that soul who's stuck here.
Yeah. It's not a dog and pony show. It's not a magic show. Yeah.
No.
That's one thing about like running into mediums in those first 2-3 years. It was a kind of a fine line because all this stuff hadn't really come out yet. Not to the extent that it has. So it was still misunderstood, I would say. But sometimes it would be more like a parlor show. And so because these people had reputations, they might have friends and they would get together. Hey, let's contact so-and-so. And I'm not saying it was a bad thing, but it didn't feel right. But when when I was involved, like doing like what you were talking about with your husband, that intuitively you knew that what to do. Right. So it was, I guess, a way for me and maybe for others, I don't know how it works, where you start to work in collaboration with those angels. Like for me, it was a lot of angels. And like you said, you take these people that you find and you just know to take them to a certain place. Like for me, it was a door, and the angels would lead there, and then they would take the person in and, let them know what was going on and bring them out of it, basically. But I don't see a lot of it now.
No.
But yeah, I don't see a lot of mediumship now.
Because
like
you're 450, your frequency.
Yeah,
I tested your
frequency. I was gonna say that, like, that during that period that there was a lot of astral work. So I guess looking back now and talking to you, for my own evolution, I had to make sense of that, because in the astrals is where I learned to stand on my feet, to take on anything that came at me, any distortion, be it in my own meditations or life experience or in assisting people. So I don't know. I think there's something to that, because I was just sitting here thinking about it. I was like, we never really had a medium. I mean, we've had people that have medium skills, but it's never been a subject. It's never been something we've done on the show. But it's a very real ability. It's a very
Oh
real
yeah,
ability. Yeah.
yeah, it is. And I suppose energetically, when your frequencies go up, you change. I'm in a different frequency now. I don't see the incarnate spirit anymore. It wasn't my husband, by the way, that I helped out. It was John, the one
Yeah,
who
yeah.
beat. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because he
But
flew
like
out.
the man that was in the roundabouts, one I was talking about. Like,
Oh, the one in the round.
yeah,
Yeah.
because for me, it was like some of the people, I'd say there was like 25 times, 25, 30 times. And I would say probably like half or a little over half the people were people I knew, family that had, that had disincarnated or transition. And then there was a few, like 10 that were like that person in the roundabout, where this person would just come into your field, right?
Yeah.
And I remember like one night this kid came in. He's for like an 18, 19-year-old
Oh,
black kid from, because I was in the Dallas area, and he told me everything. He was like, I was killed. I was put in this lake. They showed me the street signs. I'm like, what the hell do you do with this? And it ended up being, like you're going, oh, I need to call the cops, and they would think I'm crazy. And what if they think I was part of it? And then you realized that it was basically you were to help him
yeah.
get,
You were to
you know,
help him.
yeah, yeah. So
He
yeah,
could feel your energy system.
yeah. God, there's so many things I'd love to ask you. So, and I
If
think
I can answer, I will. But if I can't, I won't.
well, I mean, going off all the stuff that you already talked about. I mean, even this thing that happened on Wednesday, I think there is a real push that's occurring at a very deep level, and it's quite upsetting at times to people. I mean, we've come a long way. We can handle these things. We're learning very rapidly, but this push to what you called unity, where
Oh,
all the grudges, all the judgments, all the everything, all these things that are part of our life that really aren't part of it, suspicion, forgiveness, even
forgive
when we have that
me.
perspective that you had when you popped out of your body, and you see everything. And so many of us have had flashes of that in one way or the other, even through community and conversation. But it sounds like that you get a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? You're like but as far as like the collective, because this push to me seems like it's going down to the nth degree. It doesn't matter if it's the Anunnaki, it doesn't matter if it's reptilian or the 1% or the Illuminati or any force. We're being guided to a place where we see them all as one, and there are no exceptions.
Yeah, I agree. I
And
agree. There aren't
and
any exceptions.
right, and there's a part of us, I guess it's the ego, that wants to be the exception.
Wants to be the exception.
Yeah, that in other words says, okay, universe, I love everything out here except for this 2%, and I'm not going to identify with that. They can go to hell. We have to, you know what I mean? That's the way I see it. I don't know how else you could explain it. This thing with the breath is quite it's something to think about. The breath
Well,
in,
if you
bringing the breath in, and then taking it back out. I mean, so are we are
we are
universe.
breathed.
Universe is like it's connotating that oneness, right? But what's
Yes.
the other part of it? The other part of it is more of a divergence, where we all go find this individuality, and we kind of like potentialize ourselves and our experience, and then we start to get pulled back, right? And that unity kind of, if you look at like that 26,000 year cycle and all that stuff people talk about. But anyway, that was a long way of me asking you a question. What do you think? Where do you think we're at as a human race, as a human hybrid soul race, or whatever this is? Where do you think we're at? How do you think we're doing? And where do you think we're going?
Oh, I think we're doing amazingly. Oh, we're doing amazingly. There are millions of light workers holding the light. No matter what's going on around them, you've got to stay in that light. And there are millions of us now. And we're just holding that light. No matter what happens, wars, people, you know, we just stay here in that frequency. And those frequencies hold that energy for everyone else to come up to join in, to come up to. And it's so important. And long ago, Brian and I, we developed something like we're speaking on now, 2000. It cost us a fortune. It was called Talking Heads, and we had people on from Canada, America, all over. It was costing us a fortune because no big companies were doing this. And
well, it's still not cheap.
No, but
That's
every
for damn sure.
Sunday, every Sunday we did. He'd say, you know, you've got to go and do a meditation, you've got to go and speak to these people. So every Sunday I went up and spoke to these people. And then the channeling, the energy would come through. And I'm saying this because something's happened that's changed that I need you to know. Lion Man, I need you to know, okay?
Yes.
Way, they took me out of my body. They took us in a lion. They took the group into a lion's body. And the lion went, it was from Archangel Michael had us first. And then he put us into the lion's body. And then we went up through the universe. And we could see through the lion's eyes. And as we went through the universe, there is this crystal's been with me forever. Crystal energy has been with me forever. And there was this crystal, beautiful, amazing building, sparkling. It was stunning. And the lion took us in. And there was Black Panthers, was lions, was tigers. They were with goddesses. The goddesses were colourful, beautiful, smiling, all in this huge building with their lions with them and their Black Panthers and their tigers. Now, this happened 2008, I think. And all of a sudden, they all sat down. And then this beautiful, beautiful being, she came and she just spoke and said, "My beautiful goddesses, now is the time. We will leave here and go to a place called Earth. And Earth is in a dark space. You will be put into places of dense energy, but you will get to know each other. You will know each other when you bump into each other. Someone will speak, someone will sing, someone will look, and that will wake you up." And all the goddesses were crying now. And then she left. I mean, I was crying. I just felt the energy. It was amazing. Now, 4 weeks ago, in the visualization that they gave me together with this group, in fact, you'll be able to listen to it if you go on. I can join you and you can listen to these things. There was Archangel Michael had us in a circle of light with crystal angels round. And then all of a sudden, Black Panthers, lions and tigers started to come round. And I was like, my God, they're here. They've come back. And so 2 weeks ago, not 2 weeks, this Wednesday gone, before that,
right.
something happened to me last Friday night, 6 o'clock. I got this terrible cold on the Wednesday morning. I woke up with a terrible cold. And I knew I was changing, not this Wednesday, the Wednesday before. So I knew something was happening because I don't get ill. I get tiny things, but I've never been ill desperately at all. And I thought something's happening. And I just wanted to be quiet. And then on Friday night, gone, a friend came online and I went, oh, Dorcas, hang on, something's happening. And then my hands started banging my chest, And this noise kept coming out of me and banging my chest. And, oh God, they're shifting me again. And after that, I just stayed quiet. I didn't even dress on Saturday. I didn't get out. I got up, but I didn't dress. And then on Sunday, I got up, showered, dressed, and then I've got a suit like this, and I had to put it on, this green. And I've got green shoes to match. It's just, I love green as well as yellow. And so when it came this Wednesday, I came on, I talk with the girls first, we all chat, we have a chat, and then I get taken over. Shika, Chingamanakiga, Lugodagabidikuma, Gudo, Gide, Chikana, Gudumala, Guduba. We are the goddesses. We are the goddesses of the lions, the tigers, and the black panthers. We are here on earth now as earth has shifted this energy. The darkest of dark is pouring out of your earth plane now. We wanted you to know, brother, you're part of this. You know, deep in you, you know. We waited as we knew you contacted the child. We knew. This is why we shifted into her for you. Understand this. You are a powerful, powerful being. What you do is admirable, but you will do more. You will do more with groups, with gatherings. Understand this. It is important for you to understand this. Shika namakut shikalakla. Shina, shina. I was trying to tell you something, but I don't have to tell it you now.
When that happens to you, do you remember?
I remember some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah, because that was a strong, yeah. The telepathy's awesome because I was like, I wonder if, and it happened. It's amazing. And that's one of the gifts of, and thank you very much for that, all of you.
Well,
all of your aspects.
What they went, they get.
Yeah. It's amazing how, as time goes on, what's happening with what we call synchronicity and how more frequent they are, how much more meaning they have, how much more ways they come up, and how they have like a sequential aspect, right? Like a book, like you're turning the pages in a book. So like talking to you, if I go back, even like if I use the show as an example, 4 or 5 shows, they're all flowing together as if the people, they're like puzzle pieces and they're telling a story. So like, I'm not surprised at all with what you just shared, what you just offered. I know what it means to me personally, regardless of what the words were. I know a lot from that. One of the things that I try to get away from is trying to understand everything or understand what's happening. because the thing is, it's experiences like this, and that could be anything. It could be me walking outside and running into the neighbor, right? There's a feeling here in the heart, right? And you can feel it, and it flows into the rest, but you can feel, and that's all the explaining that I need.
Oh my God. And Sheila Ishtamanoia Yela Pachikanake Sheila Shinakai Shi. I am Mary, mother of Jesus. The light is bright. It's brighter than when my son was here, and now you and all your beautiful beings of light are bringing the love that was the original message. The love, the compassion, the joy. Know this. Know this. It is not work, it is your destiny. Ishka, it is your destiny. We are the Elohim from the dawn of time. This is our song for your soul. Your soul receives this.
Ooh, thank you. Well,
this is everyone.
Yeah.
Gosh. When you asked me to come on here, I know what happens to me. And I was a little bit concerned sometimes because I can't stop it. So I was a little bit concerned if, at the time, if you would be able to understand this. And I'm so happy because when I tested your frequencies, you're 450, and I knew you would understand. And there are a lot of your people who watch this who need this energy as well, because they are beautiful beings of light. They are magnificent to be here at this time, on this planet, doing this work, holding this light at this time. And I have to say something to you as well. And I don't know who's watching this, but it happened to me when I had about 100 people around the center of me, when I was channeling. And as I was coming back from channeling, this cry came from deep within me, so deep, and it poured out of me. And it was Jesus. And he said, I did not suffer. I was out of body. Understand this. And this is not how this world was supposed to be. And you must. And I know there's religious people everywhere, but he said it. I could not stop it. Please take the crosses down as they hold the energy of torture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I had nothing to do with it. It came through me. But he did not suffer. He was out.
Yeah.
Like that happened to me when I was 7. I was out.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I don't know how that fits with everybody, but I just had to say it.
Oh, it makes sense. You know, I mean, when I had a reawakening in 2011, I ended up basically living on the streets for a couple of years by my own choice, because it was a spiritual thing. But I remember early on, because I walked all the time, and it was in the afternoon, it was hot. I remember that. And I remember he came in and he said, you know, you don't have to suffer.
Yeah.
To prove yourself. Like, you don't have to suffer.
No.
And then that was explained to me, what you just said. Or I understood it or whatever. But yeah, I think that's one thing that we're all coming into, so many people, is we are facing what has made us suffer, to find that it is us. And we unknowingly and unconsciously and whatever, but now we've woken up to the design of it all, if you will.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like, what do we do with it? So that's my question to you. And
oh, easy. Just love and be happy. The happiness is last, you know, it just came in. I wake up happy. You know, I wake up smiling. I live on my own. I can't, you know, sometimes I speak to somebody for about 3-4 days, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm just happy with it. I just feel the happiness. The happiness is here. And this is what we're here for, the joy, the happiness. And the more we feel the joy and the happiness, and we stop watching the news, or we stop taking in what's happening, knowing that everybody that leaves this planet, in any way they're going to leave this planet, it's their time. And when they leave, before anything happens to them that could hurt them, they're out of their body. They're out of their body before it happens.
Yeah.
You know, there was a friend of mine went to New York, and or somewhere. It was a long time ago. And she was going to get into this elevator, which was quite a lot of people. And she looked and she stood back. And I said, why did you stand back? She said, they weren't in the bodies. None of them were in the bodies. And it dropped and it killed them. So they were out of their bodies. So that's what happens. When there's earthquakes and things like that, something already happened to that person and they're out. So they don't feel the pain. The pain is for the people who have lost the people here on earth, because I've been there. When you've been there, and I've been in the universe, I've been into this amazing space years and years and years ago. They took me out of my body. They took me up into this. Oh, it's so beautiful. There were lights just flowing. There was no conversation. There didn't need to be, because there was no voice. It was just lights. There were blues, there was pink, there was colours not on this earth. And the energy was love. When you fall in love, that feeling, but a million times more. A million times more. And that is what it's like when you go home. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. It's, you know, when I came back in, it took me 3 weeks to know that I had to work with my 1 foot in one camp. This is before I met Brian, and 1 foot in another camp, because I had to healers and heal me to keep me here. But it was like coming down into mud then, which it isn't now. It shifted the energy. The super consciousness is awoken in people, so that the old consciousness has slipped away. Sorry, I do go on.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love what you said at the beginning, when you said, as you were telling your story, that you got to this point where you'd already been a healer. And I think a lot of us, one way or the other, this is what we're doing. But then you got to a certain point, and you arrived somewhere. I don't remember how it all went. Am I getting this telepathically? I don't even know. It's weird. But you basically had to heal.
Oh, yeah.
You had to heal before you could go heal. It felt to me like before you could go heal at this next and higher level kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the reason that I found that so interesting was because the way that it felt like what a lot of us are doing now. Like it feels like something's coming and truly finally here, where many people will need what this group of people have. The ability to self-heal, the knowledge, the practice of it, the community of it, the energy and frequency and vibration of it. But that we're in the final stages of preparation, which come down to, how can you heal yourself or anyone else if you don't trust all of it? And then the distinction between truth and trust becomes nothing. Because there is no truth in a moment without trust. And trust does not come from what the universe gives you. It comes from what you give the universe. And so, you know, I don't know where that came from, but I feel like that we're in the final stage of preparation. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, because since about July of last year, it's been burn, baby, burn. You know what I mean? It's been wild.
You know,
but go ahead.
Go on. No, speak.
No, I'm done. I was gonna probably say something funny. No, go ahead. You're good.
I'm a 3710. My number's 3710. And that is, the base of it is trust.
Yeah.
And I've had to trust, and I learned how to trust. And Brian taught me to trust. You know, we'd go off, we stayed in the tent with no money in Cornwall. And I went, we have no money. He said, trust. I went, okay. And then I talked to someone, and I'd get talking about tarot. And then next minute, we've got the money from the tarot, and the money came, and we stayed there a month before we ever lived there. And that's where a lot of magic happened to me in Cornwall. And trust is the thing. Forgiveness, 100%. I told my father I'd forgive him. I didn't only forgive him, I loved him again. I felt the love for him again.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That was amazing. And I've forgiven everybody, everything, because that energy of not forgiveness holds you.
Yeah. That's what I
Holds
mean.
you.
Yeah. Doesn't
release you. But once you've forgiven, and that takes some body work sometimes, because if you've been hit a lot,
yeah,
it goes into your bones and goes into your body.
Yeah.
And you need some body work to get that out, to forgive. But I'll tell you this, from when I first started healing all those years ago, the energy's changed to the point that you can heal quicker.
Yeah.
You can forgive quicker. You know?
Yeah.
You don't have to hang on. You say thank you to that person for that lesson, for what you came for.
Well, yes, you're saying a lot there. I mean, and the thing is, a couple things. It's like you said, you not only do you forgive, but you love. You truly, and you can't fake that, right? You can't say this, and this is what I mean by the 1 or 2% that we can't, that we resistant to. You know what I mean? But the other thing is like, so let me ask you this question and tie it all together. In terms of your own abilities, is there a relationship between the forgiveness that you went through for yourself and the expansion of your abilities? Or did you have that challenge? Because I know a lot of people, me included, figure out after a while and that, you know, we can forgive people all we want or think we are, but there's a part of us that we haven't forgiven in ourselves. Like,
yeah, I know.
How could I be that? A lot of us were naive because of our hearts. Impasse, you know, so that's an example. A lot of us were naive and we got used and and then we figure it out. But yeah, for me, and I'm just wondering about you, did you have in that time where you had to heal yourself, was forgiveness part of it? And if not, or if so,
yeah.
what
Big,
were you
big,
what were you
big
doing?
part of it.
Yeah, what were you doing in that time?
Well, when I was forgiving, I did certain things. People used to pop up, you know. Before I left Macclesfield to go and live in Cornwall in St Ives, I had a friend, Christine. She's gone home now, God bless her, beautiful soul. She just did hypnotism, and I was easy to hypnotize, very easy, because I trust. And if I'm with this person, and she took me back to that time. And she let me express to my father how it had felt for me. And she said, now, what would you like to do with your father? And I beat him up to a pulp. And soon as I'd finished that and gone through that, I just loved him. I just truly loved him. It happened to me. I was also on homeopathic remedies, and I was on an Australian bark flower remedy for abuse as well. Those kind of things are brilliant. I still take homeopathic remedies to this day for my skits if something happens. Those kind of things help me. And then the kinesiology helped me because Tanya wasn't only a kinesiologist. My God, when I first met her and I lay there on the bed, there we were in Egypt, and we were carrying her coffin. We were carrying her. I was a slave, you know. I've never been anybody really wonderful. I've always been a slave.
You're one of the first multidimensionals I've ever met that wasn't somebody famous.
Oh, I know. But yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? The thing is that all those things, and then the rebirthing took me back. when I was being rebirthed, I was freezing cold. I remember I didn't have to breathe. I'd done the rebirthing breath so much, I didn't have to breathe because my body was full of oxygen. And all of a sudden, I was in Inca time. And I was walking up these steps where my father again was on top. And all these people and everybody was cheering at the sides. And I'm walking up there dressed in all this white. And I got to the top, not knowing that my father was going to kill me. And I got to the top and he had these huge nails attached to his nails. And he went into and grabbed my heart. He went into the skin, grabbed my heart and threw it on a fire. And I automatically grabbed my heart, put it back in, vroom, and came back out of it. And Tanya, when I came round, Tanya said, what happened? Let me tell you what she saw. She said, I saw your heart floating and go into your body. She said it was mad. And so I told her what happened to me. And so it had healed that as well. It healed that past life. Wow. At that same time. So, you know, these experiences, this is my life. It's been in my life forever. This is normal for me. You know, I had a young girl brought to me a few years ago. Someone said, oh, help her. She'd been put on Ritalin because she was seen and everything. So and I got hold of her and I said, tell me what you're seeing. She said, oh, this happened to me. And I said, it's normal. It's normal. You're feeling the beating across your chest. It's normal. Your ears, everything hurts for a while. Then it'll go back. It's normal. Your sight, you can't stand the light for a while. It's normal. You're changing. It's okay. And she's become a great healer.
Wow.
You know, you just need to get hold of. I've got a 16-year-old and a 15-year-old at the moment who are star children. They're beautiful. Oh, they're beautiful. And they are beautiful beings already here with a high frequency, and they're being born here, and it's keeping them here. So they're okay. You know, some have committed suicide and gone because they couldn't stand the light. They couldn't stand the dark.
Right.
But keeping our, you know, our children here, our star children. I saw one the other day online. She was, you know, with this group, with my group, but somebody had come in and I saw the star and I went, oh, here we go. And you know, she's going through a hard time. So, you know, I just help. It's just what I do. Sorry, I've gone off again.
No, I'm totally loving this. All these years that you've been experiencing the things you have you ever let me just put it this way, how much has come into your understanding of what's going on right now? In other words, is there a reason that so many of the sacred texts point to this time? Is there a reason so many people are starting to channel light language at this time? Is there a reason everyone feels there's this major, possibly unique type of transition happening? Have you, over the years, been given information on this time period?
Given information? I see information. I have bootfuls of it. Absolutely bootfuls of it. They channel through me. It's written all down here. It's written about this auspicious time. Hang on. I thought there was one. Oh, yeah. Welcome to this is from the Elohim 2011. Welcome to this auspicious time in the universe. You all thought you were helping Earth birth, but by embodying the light that comes into your atmosphere, you are working for an evolutionary change within the universe. Expansion through the nothingness is happening, expanding, changing, and evolving. Some matter takes millions of your years. The atoms within your own solar system have been enhanced to embody the vibrations of love, as within this vibration is expansion of bliss, as you name it. Your inner selves have been transmitting information back to your place of descent into Earth's atmosphere. For as the higher realms have learned of your human life, this has been a time of renewing connections to your starlight. It goes on. Do you want me to send it you?
Keep going. You want me to what?
Okay.
What?
You were all crafted by the light in different degrees, all programmed, but this is an earth word which undermines the importance of your soul's journey. You were crafted for different tasks. Your animal incarnation was important for the information we received. We give each one of you, which was your choice, different life cycles, underwater, on land, and flying through the thermals. All have been animals, and so you then became humans. Each carnation has been learnings, teachings for the next. You have always been held in the light whilst these lives were acted out. We watched as you have felt your way through each cycle. We now have an enormous amount of light for Earth's progress. You have a main understanding of light vibrations and different frequencies as we have released energies that have sifted through you and realized new feelings that run through your earthly bodies that house you, unlocking your soul's nature. Each one of you is earth incarnate. Each earthly body is made from the same elements as earth. As each one of you grows to the stage of your dying, your soul is as a seed jettisoned forward with enormous knowledge. Together with earthly knowledge and soul knowledge, you come back into the collective vibration of love, which is 1,000,000 times stronger than it is in earth life. Your task is to lift earth in a love vibration. As each one of you becomes lighter in frequencies, love then can take an enormous hold on all around you, so creating an energy field of lightness, brightness, and peace, thus bringing in new colors and information of love. There are also planets that are not visible to the earthly eye, which you affect with your emotions. The more joy you feel, the more they become visible. And as you take in the light and enter the dream time, the more love floats into your souls, so giving you clarity of your flowing beauty. We, the Elohim, have guided many and prepared many for the evolutionary step in this time. In the great turning tides of energy that floats within your lifespan, all are now being prepared for the reverse of the great fall that occurred eons ago. Breathe in my light and hold fast as you are loved and kept in the light shower of frequencies that are descending into your atmosphere at this time and the next year. You are now being bathed in a cloak of remembrance of an accumulation of your different carnations. You were the streams, the lakes that entered earth. You know water as you have been water. Water is very important now.
Mm-hmm.
So learned of the motion, stillness, and flow. The tide is now turning, and your inner self knows how your colors change moment by moment, helping to enhance your coded selves. You have been only color, drifted in unison with breath before this universe began. You have knowledge written within your DNA as you floated through the universe. You gathered all information for the journey you undertook. You lived as crystals on different universes. Crystals hold memories of love. Some of you chose to live within planets of crystal, collecting and imparting of the knowledge and wisdom which you as a crystal had embodied. 1,000 souls at a time lived within a tree to embody energies and truth of life as a tree. As well as water, trees, and colours, you have been rocks, mountains, flowers, air, clouds, all that exists. And so in your dream times, you become one with all, as you are encoded within the knowledge of all. And so the knowledge enhanced your creativeness to create for Earth life. Subtle frequencies of love drift gently in the breeze, dropping through the senses and entering soul's graces, refreshing and renewing the call of wonderment and devotion to the aliveness of the universal knowledge. Breathe me in, feel my essence, as the deepness of love, peace flows deeper into God's presence within. I am your breath. I am your heart. I am life. And I am forever flowing, renewing, and giving joy from the center of life.
Oh, I am soul. Wow, that was really cool. That was from 2011. And
Yeah.
you know, we've met so many women like yourself. Not everyone's not exactly the same, doesn't have the same story, but there's a lot of similarities. Downloading for years and years and years, keeping journals going back 20 and 30 years. And I think the point one of the many things that you brought up that's worth mentioning again, and I'm not one to really speak to it because I haven't done it, but it's body work. And then you also mentioned kinesiology. It would make sense to me to keep it in mind or consider it for any of us, because this is it feels like this is the bottom of the barrel with the blockages and you know, the things really get into the heart of the matter, like you were talking about with trust and truth. But yeah, so I thought I would just mention that. I know a lot of people are into Reiki, and I don't know all the ins and outs of these different things, but I know that as time is, what's that?
Can I say?
Yes, of course.
That for the healer, the healer just, it's like you know, when the car's broke down, we get the battery and we give it a boost. That's what we do. But tune into the source energy that gave birth to you. That's where the power, the angelic power, lots of people have come up with all these technical names for different things, but they have to understand, just go to the source, the God energy, pull that light within you, pull that in, feel it in your heart, feel it run through your hands, feel it, that love, and then vroom, to that person who is low, whose frequency is too low, and bring them up, but pull it from the source light. The source is the key. It gave birth to us. What did he say? We were floating in and out in bliss. And then the source light gave birth to us so it could know itself through us.
Right.
So connect to the source. Pull it in you. Know it's there for you. When people are cut off like that, the source is still there for them, but they cut themselves off with this energy, this low frequency. I always say to people, if you're feeling depressed, get up, stand up, put good music on, dance, get outside, bring it, you know, just get out, shift it. Because when you start to shift, your frequency starts to rise. You can then think from a better place.
Right.
You then see life from a better place. I'm lucky.
Right.
Do you know why I'm lucky? Because I've been through all that SHIT.
I can promise you one thing, everyone that's tuned in, there's certain characteristics that we all carry. if you look at it from energy, right? Not to mention we're all connected. So what you go through, I go
Yeah, we
through.
are.
But I think what we're starting to get now is the whole, and I think it's a tough pill for the human part of us, as we are holding on by our fingernails, the last remnants of the part of the ego that we allow to run the show, because it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just the parts of us that created an identity that we can't let go of, and in many cases. Now that identity, or the identities that we don't want to let go of, are the identities that were created and became bigger than the old damaged human shadowed identity. But hey, I'm able to do this and I'm able to do that, and it's a powerful overall download. But there is to me, since September, a wider and wider air of humility and humanness.
Yeah.
And people that I've known have had incredible experiences throughout their life, divine episodes, and all the things that we talk about on the show. But it's like we're all being brought down to the same level.
Yeah, we are. We're all the same.
All things.
No one's higher, no one's lower. We're all the same. The dustbin man is the same as me. The king is the same as me. We are the same. We are all the same, and we love all. When I do my work, I feel this enormous love for everyone in front of me. Real deep love. And I'm just so thrilled with that feeling. It's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, this has been an amazing show that we had all these problems trying to get it started, and that's how it always works. And I think, and even during the early part of the show, your frequency or our frequency or everybody's frequency, whatever, was just breaking up the signal. But we stabilized it, and
that does happen. You're right.
But I feel like a lot of code was put on the table, and I think that's what it's all about. I really do. And I really appreciate you coming on, and I'd love to do it again sometime this year. If you're interested. And thank you for everything, and all blessings to you and yours. And
you too, my darling. And let it flow. Just flow. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Peace out. Might be back later today, might not. I don't know. It depends on how the day goes.
God bless you.